Are you ready for me to get canceled again? Because I know what I'm going to be waking up to on Twitter tomorrow. I know what I'm getting from this. Let's talk about Stonetoss. Just get that right up there. Just right up there. All right. So listen, I'm going to preempt this, okay? Because I care about this a lot. I care about this a ton, okay? I'm going to preempt this. Stonetoss is a Nazi. Nazis are enemies of everyone. They're an enemy of the world. They're an enemy of humanity. They're vile, and I support I support extra legal. So that means extra legal means very legal responses to the spread of white nationalism and Nazism in Western society. Okay, so super legal responses. With that being said, I think that there is value in picking apart the potential successes of an enemy. Doesn't that mean outside of legal? Shh. I believe that there is value in seeing what your enemies do and trying to learn from it. Not learning, mind you, their political values. We're good. But learning their messaging. That can be super fucking valuable. So Stonetoss, for those of you who don't know, is a Nazi. And by Nazi, I do not mean that he is a edgy conservative or a reactionary. He is a Nazi. Full on, he's called himself a Nazi. There was a tweet of his. It was something along the lines of, when people call you a Nazi, you need to stop saying, no, I'm not, and start saying, yeah, so. That's the level where there's like no mask here. There's no mask off. There's no mask. There was never any mask. The problem is that in spite of being a unpalatably radical to most people, Stonetoss is actually pretty popular. Like, he's actually pretty popular, and he's well known. And there are entire communities of people, big communities on Reddit, who take his comics and edit them to give them different messages. Just edit the text, shuffle it around a little bit. They have fun with it. It's called Antifa Stonetoss. If you want left-leaning ones, and if you want deliberately absurdist left-leaning ones, you have stone tossing juice, reminiscent of bone hurting juice, the similarly delightful meme. Whatever the case may be, do you know why these communities are so popular? Antifa Stonetoss and so on and so forth. Take a look at these. Like, take a look at the art, for example. So right now we're looking at Antifa Stonetoss. So these are edited versions of the comic. So here, they're being very nice to this person with muscular dystrophy, where obviously the original comic was quite mean. Take a look at the art of these comics. They are very simple, but they are at the same time incredibly expressive. And it is for that reason that they have garnered such a massive community of editors. That's the reason why Stone Hurting Juice and Antifa Stonetoss are so popular. It's because the original comics are good. Stonetoss is really, really, really good meme bait. In that the way the comics are designed, they're great for reaction images, they're really great for conveying feelings and points, and that's just the way the comics are laid out structurally. That's not even including the content. But if you look at the way the content is designed as well, let's find a better one. This is kind of a crap one. Here we go. Look at this right here. Okay, let's look at this comic, okay? Science denier. So this person, he's angry. He's holding up a book called Climatology. So science denier, climatology. The obvious implication here is that this person, the one on the left in the orange shirt, is accusing this person, the one in the red, of denying global warming or human-caused global warming, right? So there's that. Then the red person turns around, a red-shirted person turns around saying, huh? And he's holding a biology textbook. See? And it's got the little gender science right down there too. And then the orange person looks confused and agitated. So if you are completely politically unaware, if you literally have like no idea what the fuck is going on in politics these days, what this looks like, this just looks like like this doesn't mean anything to you. This is a phenomenal dog whistle. We have a problem in lefty sort of iconography, in our comics, in the delivery of our media. We have a problem with being preachy. One of the ways in which Stonetoss is remarkably good at what he does is that he is not even remotely preachy. He is actually incredibly underhanded in the delivery of his sort of values here. So this is obviously a trans dog whistle here. So you deny science because you don't support climate change, but then you realize he's holding up a biology textbook. This doesn't make sense unless you're familiar with the tendency for people who deny the existence and legitimacy of trans people to cite basic biology as the reason why they don't like believe trans people are anything other than like delusional mentally ill people. I see people in chat right now who are like, this is a dog whistle? Is this anti-trans? Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And every person who's right-leaning and who has themselves said, pick up a biology textbook, you fucking tranny. Every single person who has ever said that will read this comic and immediately understand what the fuck is going on. Immediately. And not only will they understand what's going on, it is incisive, it delivers the point, it's not preachy, and it's difficult to assail from from another person's position. What would you do if you were me and you saw somebody spread this comic? Imagine you saw this comic on a Facebook feed, like a friend posted it, and they were like, haha. How would you respond to that? I'm actually asking you right now. This isn't rhetorical. How would you respond to that? You would have to go like 18 layers back. You'd have to be like, because you don't know, like they didn't post it and say, haha, fuck trans people. You would have to go like 80 levels back. You'd have to dig way back. Like, hey, this is a dog whistle because conservatives will say that you can't, that trans people are like, it's anti-biology. And then they'd be like, what the fuck does this comic have to do with trans people? There's nothing in here about trans people. Oh, well, if you're familiar with conservative rhetoric, you realize that they're very often accusing trans people of being invalid because basic biology, and the first person says science denier. You have to go way the fuck back. It's wild how far back you have to go. That's really powerful. That's incredibly powerful propaganda. The goal of propaganda is not only to reinforce the values of the people who already believe what you're saying, but also to get others in on it. And this is wildly good at that. Let's find another one. Okay, this is another fantastic example. Okay, generally speaking, when Stonetoss draws like an SJW or a progressive or a leftist or anyone in that camp, he'll draw them with a little swirly poop hair. You see? ICE detention centers abuse immigrants. Yes, true. Quick, we can stop it if we barricade access to the facility. Whew! No more tortured immigrant. This is wildly good propaganda. It's fucking insane. Dude, I don't get this one. It's pretty simple. The argument is this. If you have a problem with how ICE is treating immigrants in their detention facility, you should be in support of a U.S. border wall because that will keep them out of the facility. It's that simple. But think of how it delivers that message. It's snappy. It's incisive. It's quirky. This is a good dog whistle. If you don't, it's not immediately, there's no fucking swastikas anywhere. You don't see any like people like stamping down on immigrants or any of that shit. It's very sly. And the point is quippy too. You can think of this, like, you can imagine Stonetoss sitting in his desk, like drawing this, being like, fucking libs. You know, it's so easy to imagine that because this is punchy. Hey man, hey, the fucking ICE is mistreating immigrants, man. Fucking them up. Maybe we should find some way to prevent them from getting to the ICE detention centers, huh? Would you be in favor of that, liberal? Would you be in favor of a way to keep the immigrants from getting to the ICE detention facility? Oh yeah, man, I get. Okay, whatever you say. Bam, border wall. It's super fucking good. There is a level of joviality here, that the right is why is it so difficult for us to create political cartoons? That's the thing. The right is able to do it for three good reasons. There are three big reasons why the right is better at this than the left. One, because the right is more comfortable being dishonest. That just gives you more room to work around. What are you going to do? Okay. Two, because the right is more comfortable being casually cruel. Casual cruelty is a really, really good way to get people on your side for laughs. If you draw a person who looks ugly and stupid, and the punchline of the joke is that they're ugly and stupid, even though there's absolutely no substance there, a lot of people are going to get behind that. The desire to paint everyone humanistically with nuance to highlight the value of all people's. These are generally leftist tendencies, and they don't really sync well with this kind of punchy, dog whistly internet humor. Yeah, performative cruelty. Exactly, Hyena. The ability to just make people the butt of jokes is important if you want like punchy humor. And the third one, and I think the third one is the most important, it's that being a Nazi, Stonetoss doesn't really have to worry about alienating his about like getting canceled by his political compatriots. I'm sorry for whining about cancel culture again, but if you take a look at the way in which he structures his comics, it is easy to imagine. You can imagine, just imagine with me, a left-leaning version of this. I'd have to think, because you can't just like, it can't be preachy. You actually have to think. Let's think for a second. What would a left-leaning Stonetoss comic be? Not like Antifa Stonetoss, because Antifa Stonetoss comics are funny because they're subversions. They're funny. Don't get me wrong. They are legitimately funny, but they're funny because they're subversions and because you're familiar with the original. It's fun to take a Nazi's work and make it anti-Nazi. But that's not the same as this making good comics in and of itself. These right here, these Antifa Stonetoss comics, you couldn't make a comic strip with them. You wouldn't be able to effectively propagandize. So let me think really quickly. Let me think. Oh, somebody linked something. Most confusing dog whistle I've ever seen. Okay, yeah, guys. This is some kind of dog whistle. And I have no fucking idea what it means. Magic dirt. Does this have something to do with the border? I think this has something to do with the border, where if you cross the line, like the magic dirt, this one is racist. He's a Nazi. They're all racist. Is this blood and soil? Magic dirt from brown to white. Actual dirt, but it's just a dude stepping on. Magic dirt. Is magic dirt a... Magic dirt theory, the idea that someone is immigrating to a country automatically and magically becomes the same as the native population. Thank you, Urban Dictionary, for keying us into this racist dog whistle. God damn, thank you. Wow. So there you go. Actual dirt is when dirty brown people are walking around. Magical dirt turns the brown people white and makes them the same as the native population. Don't say, guys, don't say yikes in chat. He's a Nazi. This shouldn't be surprising to you. Yeah. All right. Whatever the case may be, let's think for a second, okay? Let's really think, okay? What would be like a good example of like a left Stonetoss? So we can imagine the exact same art. All we have to do is switch up the paneling and the messaging to try and make it left-leaning, but it can't just be like an obvious preachy Antifa Stonetoss comic edit. This has to be like in and of its. This has to be good shit, like on its own. Let me think. Let's think. Let's all have a brain blast, okay? Let's think. I can see it. I can think of it. Maybe business executives in a boardroom. Business executives in the boardroom. Okay. All right. And one of them in the corner is doing payroll for all of the employees. Okay. And they have a big stack, like on a cartoonishly large, like butler's silver dinner platter, the thing that you hold up like this, a big stack of envelopes that clearly have like paychecks inside of them, you know? And the exec, or maybe just a worker, is partitioning out a few of them onto a table, like, oh, this goes to Johnson, this goes to Margaret, you know, blah blah blah. And then he looks down at the remaining pile where like 98% of it is still there, and then he sets it on the table and slides it across, and you see on the far end of the table is a monstrously fat capitalist with like a pig face, who then like grabs it and like pulls it in and gives like a big pig smile and says thank you, and and everyone else just looks kind of, you know what I mean, like something like that. It has to be, even that's not subtle enough, honestly, but something like, yeah, meh, no, I know, yeah, it's too obvious, actual thought, it's no, I agree, Stonetoss's comics are well done. I'm sure that could probably work if you like threw in a twist somewhere or something like that. Yeah, it's just a brainstorm session, guys. Jesus Christ, don't rib at me too hard. I'm not a fucking comic artist. Except, oh wait, I totally am, because I finished my amazing 22-page it's really not that funny. Comrade Cora, then why do I laugh every time I look at it? 22 pages. We're doing it. Look at that. Look at this phenomenal editing. Come on, some of these panels are pretty good. Look at this. Maybe I just like seeing people's faces all blurry. Maybe that just makes me happy, you know? Get to the point, I've seen this already. Choke on my dick, humble Altmer. Fuck you. Honestly, I think 90% of the humor, 90% of the humor is just that I really like seeing people's faces blurred. That's just really good comedic. I should have put Ben Shapiro of the left somewhere in the... I'm glad we can all agree, with basically no disagreement, that this is quality, and was definitely worth 3 hours of my time. We're gonna pretend that took 3 hours, okay? Okay, can we get back to can we get back to this? Can we get back to this? Okay. The point that I'm trying to get at here is that while Stonetoss is himself a monster, the way his comics are set up are marvelous in that they are excellent meme bait. They're very visually distinct. You always know where they're coming from. They're simple. The expressions are very, very readable. They're very punchy. They're excellent dog whistles, as in it can be very difficult to explain why some of them are like racist or Nazi as fuck if a person isn't already familiar with the subject material. And they're genuinely, frankly, they are funny. They are genuinely funny. Like we can find... Oh, I think this is a non-Nazi comic. There are no dog whistles here. Check it out. Look. Yeah, great comedic timing. The sort of the tired expression. Here, let's find a good one to really dig into. Okay, this is phenomenal, okay? This is excellent right here. So, Antifa 1, we only punch Nazis. A libertarian in the background gets punched. Okay, but we're not terrorists. Screaming kill fascists. I mean, we haven't actually killed anyone. Well, he's gunning off in the background. So obviously the premise of this comic is ludicrous. If you're taking a look at the actual amount of violence committed, white nationalism does far more harm to the world than Antifa ever could. And we've yet to have an Antifa shooting. So this thing over here is literally fantastical. But this is a phenomenal, this is like 6 straw men baked into a single comic. To argue against the premise here would require like wild back, you like fucking way the fuck back, you know? Like fuck, let's unpiece it, okay? Let's unravel this. Okay? So here's Antifa saying, we only punch Nazis. Even that's an incredibly simplistic, like, Antifa, like, they're there to fight Nazis at protests. I don't think any, like, Antifa dude is ever, well, for one, Antifa doesn't even have a leader. It's not even like a unified organization. It's really just an ideology. But the idea that, like, they have this sanctimonious Batman vow to, like, never punch anyone but Nazis is not true. If there's a Nazi rally, but there are libertarians at that rally protesting with the Nazis, then yeah, fair game. And then, okay, but we're not terrorists, kill fascists. It's funny, Antifa has yet to kill a single person, so that's a good-ass meme right there. Why did I just get a YouTube notification for my own stream? Okay. Which is funny because Antifa has yet to kill a single person. And then over here, the shooting has, there's not only has there been no person killed, it hasn't been fucking shooting yet, but the progressively more anxious expression on the face of the Antifa person here it serves to reinforce this, the feeling, this smugness, you know? Oh, now they're killing people? Oh yeah, where in the description? Oh, right, no, of course, yeah, Dayton shooter, right, naturally. Again, they're Nazis, they'll lie. Dayton shooter. Of course, guys, you knew perfectly well it was the Dayton shooter. Anyway, this is like, imagine this, okay? If you're like a really fucking dishonest conservative, which they all are, because they're conservatives, they're subhuman. But if you're a really, really dishonest conservative, you can look at this and feel so unbelievably fucking smug, and it will help reinforce an internal mental process that will make it easier for you to dismiss people who try to introduce nuance into conversations about Antifa. Don't use the word subhuman. That's not good stuff. Fuck you. You're subhuman for disagreeing with me. I call conservatives subhuman. Fucking calm down. Tuck your pants in. Jesus. Whiners. Anyway. Imagine if you're like reading this as a conservative and you're like, hey, yeah, fucking left keeps backpedaling. They're killing more and more people. A lot of right-leaning people are like sincerely, invested in the propaganda that we sometimes accuse them of knowing is fake. There are a lot of conservatives out there who actually do believe that Antifa is like a mass murder terrorist organization that wants to kill all white men. It's fucking wild that they're out there doing that, but they do exist. And comics like this make it really easy to dismiss anyone who will come up to you and say something along the lines of, hey, listen, we know Antifa does violence from time to time, but you know that like Nazis do way the fuck more, and even so, the violence Nazis do is targeted against innocents, whereas the violence Antifa does is targeted against, for the most part, Nazis. And internally, the conservatives just going like, yeah, at least we haven't actually killed any of them, am I right, fucking fellow Antifa? Fucking lib. Like, it's so good at that. How far right do you have to be become subhuman? Anyone who's not voting for Bernie. Easy. This one's just making fun of Trump. A lot of Nazis don't like Trump because they believe he betrayed the white man by appealing to them, but then still supports Israel or something. You know how it be. You know how it be. Oh, this is really cute too. I think actually leftists could get behind this as well. Don't us lefties love to make fun of liberals for going on and on about the Russian collusion narrative? Check this one out. Look at this. This is so great. Like this right here could be an equally punchy left-leaning comic with with essentially no change in its paneling or structure. You know, all you would have to do is replace the Russian collusion headline on the newspaper with something like what's a right-leaning conspiracy theory? I don't know. Great Replacement. You know, they'd be like whites being bred out, white genocide, Pizzagate. Like there were a ton of things that you could put here. This would be such an easy lefty comic to make, but we don't make it. Why? Is this like too unnuanced for us glorious lefties to waste our time with? Is it not dialectical enough? Does it not involve enough theory so it's not worth our time? I'm just saying that, like, if we put real effort into propagandizing to the same extent that right-leaning people do, our jobs would get so much easier. How amazing would it be? Can we just imagine a world? Please, oh God, everyone. Oh, please, oh God. Vosh, how is it a conspiracy theory if several federal administrations agree with it? I don't think the Russian collusion thing is a conspiracy theory. I think a lot of libs overemphasize it and like talk it up too much, but they did. Like Russia did try, and they did do probably some things, and they did try and contact the Trump administration. So what are you gonna do? But obsessing over it super hard can be distracting to the broader problem of like our broken political system. Whatever the case is, like, can you fucking imagine? Can we all just Can we just enter the mind space? Okay, enter it. Okay, are you there? Are you there in the mind space? Okay. Imagine going on Facebook or Twitter and seeing completely apolitical people who are basically like moderate or centrally, or they really just aren't involved in politics. Maybe they're a coworker or a family member. Okay? And they're posting the leftist version of Stonetoss. They're posting comics that are making fun of Nazis and white nationalists and conservatives and libertarians and conspiracy theorists. And they're doing it while having absolutely no idea what the fuck they mean. They're just doing it because they like the comics and they think they're punchy. Can you imagine? Can you fucking fathom a world where there are boomers circulating stuff like this, but in our favor, rather than 100% of all boomer comic circulation being like fascist dog shit? Oh, that'd be fucking amazing, wouldn't it? Oh, God. Oh, God. That'd be fucking amazing. Don't you want to live in that world? Do you know how you can live in that world? You have to propagandize. It's not enough to just do what I do. I can propagandize to an extent. Absolutely. I love me some propagandizing, okay? But I can't reach the apolitical. I can't dog whistle. That's one thing I don't do. I don't dog whistle. But if we could slap together some lefty equivalent of this, it has to not be derivative. Stonetoss has a unique art style, very expressive. It would have to be something on its own, and it would have to be subtle enough that dipshits could pick up on it and circulate it without having any idea what the fuck they're doing. Okay. Just enjoy this one with me. This one's funny as fuck. XKCD style. XKCD isn't expressive enough. It relies purely on the witty dialogue, but the witty dialogue isn't how you dog whistle. You dog whistle with imagery. What? Fox Occulti, did you just double subscribe? Fox Oculi, thank you for the second tier 3 subscription. All right, let's fix this shit. Nah, the first one failed. Okay, as long as you didn't double up on the money. Well, welcome again. Nice. Anyway, this is fucking phenomenal. Okay, the Chad is like, and it's a Chad. Look at this beautiful, unique art rendition of the Chad. You got this, bro. Just go up to her and be yourself. And she's chilling over here, and then, okay. And then it's a fucking Evangelion meme. Okay, first of all, the statement they're only 14 is completely irrelevant when fans of Misato, a literal ephebiphile, by the way, ignore that outside the province-specific local laws, Japan's age of consent begins around 13. This is genuinely funny. So this isn't a Nazi dog whistle right here. This is just making fun of like anime losers, you know? But it's still really fucking funny. That'd be fun too if we interspersed our lefty dog whistle propaganda. Oh, this is a really good one. The race mixing advertising. It really is. We'll do this one next. This is good. What if we could, instead of being preachy, we could throw in some genuinely funny meme jokes in there? Is that an anime joke? I thought it was a libertarian joke. No, this is an anime joke. Misato is a character in Evangelion. So the Rei and Asuka in Evangelion are both 14. Misato is an adult, but Misato ends up fucking macking up on Shinji, who's also 14. So hence the ephebophile. All right. No, I have not seen the Marks anime. This is a really good one. In fact, this is one of the best ones that Stonetoss has ever done. I would actually consider this, I'm not joking, okay? I would actually consider this to be a masterpiece in Nazi dog whistling. This is... No, I don't think Misato was attracted to him either. She was just manipulating him, and I stand Misato. Misato, best girl. This is an I'm not joking, guys. This is one of the best pieces of meme propaganda I've ever seen, and it blows anything the left has done out of the fucking water. Literally, we've absolutely blown the fuck out. So let's pull this one apart, okay? So immediate appeal. It's funny on a surface level. Okay, behold our ad campaign. It's people making out. Are you sure this will help us sell more burgers? So if you're not a Nazi, this could read as a criticism of sex in advertising. Easily, this could read as just a joke that this dude, the one in the blue shirt, is just a horny boy. That we can. This could be read as just like an irreverent satire of advertising techniques, you know. But if you're woke. If you're woke to the Nazi shit, you know what this actually is. Nazis and other JQers and so on and so forth, these people believe that that there is a subversive group of people in advertising who are promoting an agenda of race mixing and what's that term? Wait, what's the fancy pants term for race mixing? I'm completely blanking on it right now. What's the fancy pants term? Really quick. Miscegenation. Yeah, miscegenation. Thank you. Promoting a agenda of miscegenation, force race mixing, and they think it's the Jews. So they would believe then that the Jews, because they control Hollywood, they put out movies where black people and white people make out and have kids, and this normalizes interracial relationships, which is a component of white genocide and is in and of itself degenerate. For black and white people to commingle, this is degenerate, and they're doing this in a deliberate ploy to subvert white America. How do you prove this to a liberal normie? That's the amazing thing, radical Kiwi. You fucking can't. Are you fucking kidding me? If a coworker of yours or like a friend or family posted this and they were like advertising or yeah, sex sells, you know, you would have no way. You would have no way. You would have no fucking way. It's wildly good propaganda. This is fucking, what do you do then? You kill yourself immediately. Yeah, if you tried to explain to someone, if someone posted this, like, haha, sex sells, and you ran up and you're like, that's Nazi propaganda. That's anti-Semitism. He just forgot to draw the nose. That's race mixing. It's not Nazis. You're falling into their schemes. Yeah, it would make us look like fucking lunatics. That's why he didn't draw the big nose on the blue shirt guy, even though I would bet you anything that at some point he considered drawing it, or maybe even did draw it and then erase it. He didn't do it because it wasn't necessary to sell the dog whistle, and by erasing it, he was able to make it more subtle. Does he even draw noses? He does for a certain religious group. I'll tell you that. You have even less faith in the centrist than I do. I have seen apolitical people post Stonetoss comics. I remember, what was this called? The Gray Pill comic? Is this what I'm thinking it is? Oh, God. Don't worry about it. I've seen, I remember there was some... It was called like the Gray Pill or something like that, and it was some like dumb shit pull comic strip. I remember this. I was in high school or maybe early college. There was this dumb shit gray pill comic strip, which was about it was like this Chad white person with a shaved head wearing a sleeveless hoodie and no shirt underneath it, and he had it unzipped, and he was like rediscovering like your Mother Europa. It was like some really early white nationalist shit. Anyway, it was pretty funny. It was funny and memey, and I saw a lot of my friend group posting it, and I was like, "Hey guys, this is Nazi. This is Nazi made this." Because at the time I was pretty young and I wasn't that good at getting my point across. And they were, yeah, Volkish, Volkish. And they came at me and they were like, what, so? It's just funny. It's just a joke. Like, that's the level of political awareness that we're dealing with for the vast majority of people. Okay? So when you throw out dog whistles like this, phenomenal fucking dog whistles, you're breaking the conversation apart to an extent it's like unbelievable. There is no lefty equivalent of this. There are no like lefty comic strips out there about ACAB fucking 1312 or about business people being like greedy piece of shit. Like, none of these things exist that are so dog whistly, that are so subversive, that are so subtle, that political normies who don't understand their messaging are posting them around and being normalized to them. That does not exist for us. It does not exist. See this edit? Well, I don't care about the edit so much. Oh yeah. I saw this edit today. This was pretty funny. It's not like the lefty equivalent or anything, but it's funny. Does it have to be subtle as long as it's funny? Well, you can't. I mean, in the same way that most of Stonetoss's comics, at least the ones that go viral, don't have like literal fucking Nazi shit in them. Yeah, subtlety is important. This is funny, but this is also subtle. If you don't understand Nazi dog whistling, this doesn't look like a Nazi dog whistle. What dog whistles does the left even have? 1312 is one. Like the ACAB. The ACAB isn't subtle enough to be a dog whistle. 1312 is one, 40%. But that's about it. There's just... Mouthfeel is not a lefty dog whistle. It's just a funny in-joke for one lefty YouTuber. How does one convince someone who isn't woke that these kind of whistles are about race rather than sex or advertising? I'm going to talk about that after we're done with Stonetoss. Let's keep... Hold on. Oh, yeah. See, look. Look at this. Existential comics is... Okay, this is exactly what I mean. Existential comics is a left-leaning comic strip. Do you think this is going to be shared around by apolitical boomers who just think it's funny and punchy? Do you think this is what some boomer coworker is going to be like, ha ha ha, this is funny. I like the funny faces. Don't get me wrong. I love existential comics. And they're far left. They are very much far left. But this is not dog whistly enough at all. This does not serve our interests in the same way that Stonetoss does. Yeah, Matt Bors does good comics. Yes, he does. But Matt Bors' comics are similarly incredibly fucking obvious if you're familiar with... Like, you don't even need to be familiar with the messaging. These aren't dog whistles. See? These are political comics, and they're pretty left-leaning, and that's cool and a great meme and all. But no one is going to share this around not knowing what the messaging is. No one is going to share this around not having any fucking idea... I'm done watching you, shithead. Oh, shit. Chris Shabo Show. What's up, comrade? What about the Boondock? I don't fucking know. Yeah, I guess Bo the Fifth Column does some stuff. Whatever the case is, I'm saying there is no equivalent to what Stonetoss does. Oh, this is another really good one. Okay, create. All right, hold on. Let me handle my own shit. Hold on. Hold on. All right. This is a good ass meme too. Look, this is a punchy, snappy rebuttal to a very common left-leaning talking point. So you got some white fucking MAGA boys being like, "Hey, get out of this country. This is our home." And then a Native American responds, "Cool, when are you leaving?" But then the implication here, obviously, being that it's hypocritical for Native Americans to complain about us being there because they stole this land from some other tribe, and that tribe stole it from some other tribe. These savages fighting one another in the in the annals of history. The mindset of the Nazis or what have you is the mindset of like these Nazis is like, if you can claim something as your homeland and you have the power to do so, then that's great. But at the end of the day, civilizations conquer one another literally all of the time. So Native Americans have no more right to complain about us than they do the tribes that they conquered in the past as well. And it's this processive like debunking of a very common left-leaning talking point. Now, is it flawed? Of course it is. You could argue against it, but it's also really good at making you feel like a smart boy, like a big brain smart boy. When you read this, it makes you feel very smug, makes it very easy to dismiss counter arguments that you hear in the future. Let's find some. Well, this one's not super subtle. Creative nothing, don't worry about it. Radical Kiwi, don't worry about it. All right. Anyway, you get the meme here, right? Another meme that Stonetoss is quite fond of is performative cruelty towards trans women. That comes up quite a bit. Honestly, conservatives like to do that quite often, but this is literally a helicopter joke, attack helicopter. This one's not very good. Terrorists see the armband? I'm Antifa. Okay, that one's not particularly good. This one's pretty good. Behold, I've created a gun that only shoots Nazis. A sawed-off shotgun, how do you control spread? And the guy gleefully loads it, and the joke being, obviously, that there will be an enormous amount of spread, no control. They're going to just call everyone a Nazi, or shoot everyone for being a Nazi. This is good on so many levels. On one hand, it does good work of it does a good job of distancing the creator of these comics, Stonetoss, who is a Nazi. It does a good job of distancing this Nazi boy from his own political views, because what he's doing right now is saying that his detractors are way the fuck too willing to attack anyone for being a Nazi. This is a Nazi saying this. You have to recognize the fundamental hypocrisy of that statement, you know? Imagine if I'm a leftist, like full on far left or whatever, and a lot of like Democrats are getting accused of being leftists and are being attacked for being leftists. Would I make a comic like this? Like, would I make a comic that looks like this? Probably not, right? Don't you think it would come off a little bit hypocritical or a little bit misleading for me, someone on the far left, to make a joke about other people not being very credulous or careful when they accuse others of being on the far left? I wouldn't do that, because the implication of the comic is that because you are not being very diligent in your selection process for what does or does not constitute a far leftist, I am not a far leftist. Information about me is greatly over-exaggerated. When you call into question the ability for your opponents to meaningfully identify you, what you're doing essentially is obfuscating the ability for others to call you what you are. Now I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, right? You get it? Maybe one or two more. The dog whistle one. Okay, this is what I mean just by being funny, by the way. This isn't even a dog whistle. This one's just funny. I laughed at this when I saw this. This one's pretty fucking funny. It's not true, though? Wait, it doesn't matter if it's true. Of course it's not true. It's Stonetoss. He's a Nazi. Yeah, and everyone keeps linking this one, but I don't think this one is a particularly good dog whistle. Because everyone here knows what it's about, and it doesn't make any sense otherwise. The only way this would make sense to somebody is if they were already a Nazi and were already familiar with Nazi propaganda. So this is, hey, look, white people were a majority, but now, oh no, they're becoming a minority, and look, the Jews watch from the distance. I think it needs to be true to be funny, Vosh. Humble Altmer, that is only you. Things do not need to be true to be funny. They need to sometimes feel true to be funny, but the left will commonly make jokes that aren't really strictly true, that are nonetheless funny, you know? Anyway, this is a good-ass meme right here. I unironically laughed when I saw it. Nice meme. Nice meme. Oh yeah, here we go. This one is really fucking good. Oh man, look at this shit. So this only makes sense if you're a Nazi, so it's not a phenomenal dog whistle, but oh man, is it a good fucking argument. You hear this shit all the time. Look, here's the leftist. See how they have the poop hair up top? Capitalists are pigs, they're white, and they steal money. And then all this guy had to do, look at this expressive face, was draw a big nose. And then, damn, oh shit, oh god, oh Jesus Christ, I'm holding Nazi propaganda. It's really good. This one is really funny. The expressions really sell this one. But it's not a good dog whistle again, because the nose drawing thing would only really work if you were a Nazi. Okay. This one's also pretty fucking funny. It's edgy as shit, but if you don't think that this is funny, you're just wrong. This is like, in terms of like comedic, alright. Where's that? We gotta go to the classic really quick. This one's also pretty funny. Hold on. This one's the classic right here. This is the OG. I think I've seen this Stonetoss comic more than I have any other. You know? This is some good-ass shit right here. And by good-ass shit, I mean some incredibly effective Nazi dog whistling. Dad, why do dogs look so different? Because of their breed, son. Dad, why are some so big and some so small? Their genes, of course. Why are some clever and others not? Purely economic factors. The joke for this being, of course, that this is a race realism dog whistle. So for why they look different and why their sizes are different, the dad is very comfortable saying because of their genes. But when asked why some are clever and some aren't, he's reminded of his libcuck. He's reminded of his libcuck indoctrination, where he has to lie and say it's only economic reasons why black people are less intelligent than white people. If you were... So the counter arguments here are pretty obvious. Dogs have been specifically bred over thousands of years to be different from one another, and they're actual like different like species of dog. They're very substantively different. They were literally bred against one another to maximize the differences in their physiology, whereas that did not take place with humans at all under any circumstances. So there's that. But also, just like, fuck me, man. This is just some really fucking good delivery right here. It's so, you have to back up because everything seems intuitive, you know? The joke here, if you realize what the joke is and you're trying to argue against it, you have to take a step back. It is a dog whistle. It definitely is a dog whistle. You have to take a step back and be like, okay, well, hold on. Dogs aren't the same thing as humans. And then, of course, the Stonetoss stand-in will go like, are you sure about that? I mean, different types of humans look different, huh? And then you'd have to be like, oh, no. Well, there are some slight phenotypical differences. At the end of the day, this is a bunk argument from like a biological standpoint, but from an intuitive standpoint, and intuition is where conservatives fucking roam. From an intuitive standpoint, this is an incredibly good argument. I have seen this comic over the course of my life dozens of times. I've seen it crop up on 4chan. I've seen it crop up on Reddit. I've seen it crop up on Twitter. I've seen it crop up at direct DMs. I've seen it crop up everywhere all the fucking time. And the reason for that is because whether or not it's true, it's punchy, memorable, effective dog whistling. And we need that. We need that shit. Okay? That is really fucking important. Because for the longest time now, the right has been able to simultaneously rely on the propagandizing efforts of its demagogues, people like Crowder, Ben Shapiro, James Alsop, like Nicholas Fuentes, any of these, like these far right. I have a good one, maybe. Oh my God, Hyena actually fucking sketched a comic. Jesus Christ. Godspeed, Hyena. We all look forward to seeing it. The lefty fucking Stonetoss. Oh well, you've got the planning down. No, it's not done yet. Chad, it's not done yet. The right has been able to simultaneously rely on these demagogues who express their points clearly and directly radicalize people, and on unaware dipshit boomers constantly posting dog whistle memes that are actually in favor of conservatism or white nationalism or whatever. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people, particularly younger people, get roped into this because they find these comics punchy and funny and it's just so true. You can't really argue with it, you know? And because it feels punchy and what have you, they get led down that road, and you give it a year or two and they're full-on Nazis, full-on white nationalists. SMBC is pretty good. It does not serve the same purpose. You're just like, that's just like a nice comic. It does not serve the same purpose. Oh, come on, man. I mean, come on, man. I don't care about the text because normally these images are disseminated on other websites. Very few people see Stonetoss on stonetoss.com. They see Stonetoss when people rip the image and put it elsewhere. And the read text doesn't appear when you rip the image and put it elsewhere. Anyway, we all get what I'm trying to say here, right? Here are my like, I guess, like closing thoughts on this shit, if I'm to have any. This is some good ass shit. We gotta rip this. We can't be derivative, but if you don't think there's effective rhetorical value to be derived from this, then you're fucking delusional. If you believe that we shouldn't even consider reaching into this territory of like comics that give us that like punchy, performatively cruel, like kind of like lefty memes, if you sincerely don't believe that's valuable or necessary, you're leaving power on the table. You're capitulating power to Nazis, to conservatives, to white nationalists, to fascists. So shut the fuck up. Quit doing that. Why would you do that? This would be like, that would unironically, like the means of delivery is apolitical. It just depends on the messaging you throw in there. That would be like if Nazis invented some like dope ass fucking machine gun during the war, and you like take over one of their buildings and they've got a bunch of them, and you're like, I'm not going to use that weapon. That's a Nazi weapon. I would never use a Nazi weapon. I'm not a Nazi. It's so much harder because a lot of lefty positions aren't intuitive. We can make them intuitive. Yet we can do it. All you have to do is be dishonest. I don't typically like dishonesty, but in this comic format, it's necessary. It's not possible to cogently deliver a nuanced point of like a leftist political position in this punchy, easily digestible way. You have to simplify. You have to, buff out some of the some of the nuance, and that's fine. Just meme it. Just fucking meme it. Just meme it, my dudes. Guys, you meme all the fucking time. You know how people are like, haha, 40% of cops beat their wives or whatever? That's not a perfectly accurate representation of the data, right? A perfectly accurate representation of the data would say that, as reported, 40% of households which have a cop in it experience domestic abuse. For all you know, the cops are the ones getting beaten. Now, we know that's probably not true, but instead we go ahead and we say, 40% of cops. When a cop does something, we're like, don't you have a wife to be beating? We do that not because we're dishonest, but because we're simplifying a nuanced point down into a cogent little nugget of meme that we can throw at other people and change minds. That is valuable. What?
Is the trans suicide rate statistic 40%?
No, it's like the actual statistic is like 40. It's like 42% of people who identify as trans have like attempted suicide. It's something else. It's not actually like 40% of them died of suicide, I don't think.
Okay, but it's 40%.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know why she couldn't ask that from chat. Yeah, it's an attempt rate. Hey, but notice, even though the actual statistic is like an attempt rate within the past year, how many conservatives unironically believe that 40% of trans people end up dying via suicide? Quite a bit of them, huh? Unironically, these are really rhetorically good, setting the internet value of memes ideas. Yeah, we gotta use that meme magic, like that 2016 4chan shit. All right. Oh, God. Whatever the case is, it's something we need to explore. If there are any comic artists out there that are looking for an opportunity to meme and cream, only fucking attempt this if you feel that you have, a comparably sophisticated ability to disseminate political points into quick, punchy comic punchlines, to dog whistle, to provide character designs and expressive reactions that are memey in and of their own right. I believe in you. Okay? Stay strong. Let's talk to chat. How the fuck are we doing, chat? The problem IMO that to dog whistle the left would need to pretend to be Nazis? No, we wouldn't. Bethal do. That is not what it means to dog whistle. We could pretend to be normies, but give lefty talking points. They just have to not identify as lefty. We wouldn't have to pretend to be Nazis. The trouble is these kinds of comics tend to trivialize terrible things. Yes. Yes. No, we would. Yes. That performative cruelty, that trivialization, that was one of the things I said at the beginning. That if you, if you're so like bound up in cancel culture that any remotely insensitive joke, it like gets you fucking shit on by the left. Nah, fuck that. Absolutely not. The meme cream magic cannot exist in that environment. People who are like that, who are like, oh, you can't trivialize these bad things. I don't care about effective propaganda. Everything must be shown proper respect. These are fucking respectability politics cunts, and they should be thrown the fuck out of a fucking office window. Yes, I know about Schadenfreude. Terry Cypher, I'm not here to rate your fucking tweets. Yes, Trotsky for life. Maybe we should. There's nothing wrong, by the way, with trivializing horrible things if you're trying to use that trivialization to deliver a political point that supports, like, taking seriously that trivial thing. If you make really irreverent jokes about, like, cops beating wives or whatever, we're not doing it because we do not care about the fucking cops' wives. We're doing it because we're trying to disseminate a political, like, ideology that will lead to less cops' wives being beaten, you know? It's in the service of a greater cause. And as a consequentialist, I am very much in favor of the ends justifying the means.